Hello guys, today we're talking about the box office here, and there has been no new movies besides Studio 66, a movie I never heard of before, and Criano, it's got a wide release now, no longer be stuck in LA, but this is a pretty slow weekend because this is kind of like one of those, it's kind of like the week, I'm not surprised they didn't put like movies like before this week, but again, the last week of February is typically a very slow week. Because again, they put that big movie in the beginning of March, and that typically comes out at the beginning of March. And there's always the movies that usually that's how it always is now. Okay, there's always like one big movie that comes out. 2020 there was the pandemic, so yeah, Onward was supposed to come out. It did come out in theaters, but it bombed because of the pandemic. And of course, Captain Marvel came out in 2019. And of course, this year we're gonna have the Batman come out. And last year we didn't have anything because of the pandemic as well, so Uncharted is gonna hold on. There's no international sales update, but I think it probably and it's probably 120 million international gross if it dropped the same as domestic. Despite Rotten Tomatoes, all the stuff that Rotten Tomatoes says, people actually want to see this movie. I'm actually shocked that this movie is performing this well as well. I'm actually shocked that might become the highest grossing video game movie of all time. But will it pass Sonic? Is it doing better? Okay, it's not gonna pass Sonic, so it's not gonna become the highest grossing video game movie of all time. Because also Batman's coming out in a week after, which is gonna probably negatively affect Uncharted's rigs as well. But the difference between Uncharted and Sonic and Pokemon is that Pokemon is one of the biggest game franchises. Sonic is one of the biggest and most recognizable game franchises. Uncharted is not that really recognizable and well compared to those two series. Of course, Rampage made a lot of money, but that's because The Rock was in it. The Rock was really popular when that movie came out, so the fact that this movie is doing really well, despite Rotten Tomatoes, which again, Rotten Tomatoes is a joke of a website, and if you base your review still based off Rotten Tomatoes, then it's just why? Why do you keep basing everything off of Rotten Tomatoes? Rotten Tomatoes isn't even that great of a site, and you're like, Rotten Tomatoes is the best game of all time, website of all time. But look at based off of games, okay? You had the Tomb Raider movie, Pokemon the movie, the Justy Fulton Frayson, Mortal Kombat, Sonic, Pikachu, Angry Birds, Prince of Persia, and Rampage. Okay, if we don't adjust it for Frayson, Tomb Raider, which again, that movie made a lot of money. More than I actually thought it did. Sonic, Pikachu, Angry Birds, three very popular video game series, and Rampage, which had The Rock in it. So that means this will be the first and only only movie and also coming out this year we have Sonic 2 and Mario. Okay, which I think all three movies now are gonna pass $100 million. So regardless of Rotten Tomatoes is like to tell you, it's one of the worst movies ever made. Regardless of what Rotten Tomatoes would want to tell you, people don't give a shit about the tomato score, which often in the past would dictate a movie's ratings. Let's compare it to Godzilla, King of the Monsters. Okay, a movie that we all know did horribly in terms of ratings-wise because people were decided to say, you know what, let's listen to Rotten Tomatoes. Of course, no, not 1956. And that's because people listen to Rotten Tomatoes, despite the movie's opening similarly. People listen to Rotten Tomatoes, and the movie didn't really do too well at the box office. Okay, because people listen to Rotten Tomatoes, which I said as a problem. and also because 2019 was really Disney's year, so anybody that even stood up to Disney or tried to compete with the big mouse didn't really make that much money either. And again, Godzilla is kind of more of a niche movie series. Godzilla is a very popular series, but isn't as popular as people would think. Especially considering the fact that this is the monster. Again, MonsterVerse open goes from 300 to 500 million on average domestically. But now it's time to talk about the other movies that came out. Dog. Which Dog is now a financial success. Yes, this movie is a financial success. No update on international box office, but even without it seems that finally Hollywood has made a movie that does not need to rely on the international box office. That, for example, House of Gucci was still a box office failure because they spent $80 million on that movie prior to pay the actors. But Dog does not need that. It only has a $15 million budget. This movie only has a $15 million budget, which means this movie made money. Okay. Which the movie is very well received. $15 million budget. And again, it's not going to make the same amount of money as Uncharted or a big blockbuster. But for a movie that is basically a smaller movie, it was never intended to make $100 million at the box office. All it really matters is it makes money at the box office. But this movie will probably continue to have good legs at the box office, which is very good for a movie that has not a part of a franchise, that's not a part of an established series, doing this well. Now we have Spider-Man. Spider-Man is being Spider-Man. We don't have to talk much about Spider-Man. Okay. Death on the Nile, Disney's big box office failure. Yeah, another box office failure by Disney. It's also based off a book, so it's not really a part of a pre-established series, but it's also based off a big book. But still, nobody gives a shit because Disney made it. It seems that the Disney curse continues. Okay, Disney only had 2 successful movies last year: Shang-Chi and Free Guy. Okay, no, Disney fanboys, Spider-Man is Sony, so it's Sony's success. Okay. Okay, not Disney. Jackass Forever, which is doing pretty well, not rigs wise, but it still made money. This movie still made money at the box office. So, Sing 2. Which for a movie like this movie did really well. It basically did what a sequel would expect to do. I think it did more than half than Sing 1, because it did more than half. So having Sing 2, for an animated movie, which is why they need to stop treating animated movies like a joke. Okay, because these movies can still make a lot of money. Okay, but they keep just throwing them just straight to streaming or dual streaming releases like Boss Baby 2. Boss Baby 2 could have made half the money at the first movie if they didn't fall on Peacock. Why we go to the theater? We have Peacock and watch it at home. Okay? And with literally no family movies for the next month, it doesn't really like no like family movies, like PG family movies. With between Sing, I believe, between Sing, I don't know if Unbreakable Boy is actually that's PG. It was also Uma. Never heard of that movie before. And the Batman project gets 2 weeks all to itself, so yeah. Besides The Unbreakable Boy, there's no family movies that appeal towards the same audience as Sing. There's like nothing between that and Sonic 2. But wait, Tony Red's on Disney Plus, so it's not a theoretical release. So Sonic, and of course 2 weeks later we're getting The Bad Guys, which is made by DreamWorks, and of course DC League of Super Pets, Lightyear, which will probably turn off more of the people who more of the kids, because Lightyear is more of a wants to be more like a live action movie, not be like for kids. Minions, Blazing Samurai, that's still coming out. Nothing ever releases in August. I think Luck is supposed to release in August, but they might have delayed that again. And of course, Mario is coming out in December. Spider-Verse, October. Also, Bob's Burgers is coming out still. But that's for older people, so. And Sonic isn't really an animated movie either. It's a live action movie, so with CGI characters, just like every other major movie out there. Okay, Spider-Man also is a live action CGI hybrid as well, but I don't think there's any CGI characters in Spider-Man. I haven't seen the movie, but nah. But it's basically in the same genre as like Endgame, because Endgame has CGI characters like Groot and Rocket. Okay. As well. So, and Jurassic World Dominion as well, which has CGI dinosaurs in the movie. So it's, when it comes to live action, quote unquote live action animes and hybrids, I think we should include movies like Jurassic World, which have CGI dinosaurs, which should count as animated characters. Same thing of Rocket and Groot. Okay, which Wikipedia counts them as live action animated movies because Groot and Rocket are animated characters. They're CGI characters. But that's basically about the upcoming releases. Marry Me, which is actually going to become a profitable movie because the movie only cost like $20 million to make. Which, yes, this means this movie will become profitable at the end. This movie will become a success at the end. Which is very good that we are actually having a variety of movies being successful, not just the big movies. Next is Cryano, which has the guy from War of the Rings, Game of Thrones in it. So, Scream, which is doing pretty well for its type of movie. Horror movies are not really known for their legs. Somehow, actually, horror movies are actually known for their legs, but Scream is not. Okay, the original horror movies used to be, but Scream does not really have good legs. But it's still gonna make $80 million regardless of it. So Scream is still a box office success regardless. So that's the total of Scream. Yeah, where it's again, Scream has become a big success at the box office. And it was the first successful movie of this year. Second being Jackass and Marry Me, which is going to become a success at the end of its box office run, and Dog and Uncharted. Will Batman be a success or be a box office failure? We'll find out next week and the weeks following. Goodbye.